Good evening and welcome to the FE Bar. I'm your host Jack George Maynard and it's Pico's turn not to be here. So stepping in again is Carl Holloway from the current lap. So much to talk about over the next 2 hours. Dennis wins in Sanya, but Andretti's 1-2 was stripped from them after a late Dragovic penalty. The top four in the championship didn't score a point. Madness. Marty ended up in second and was incredible for the rookie. Remember, we cannot do this show without you. So make sure you join the Discord, !Discord in chat, and you can have your say on the series that you love. Kyle, how are we? How are we managing the heat?
I'm good, and I'm managing the heat pretty well. I've got a fan here.
I got no fan.
So I'm kind of living a bit of luxury while we talk about Formula E for 2 hours. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here again. I think this is my triple header now. So
wow.
It's what an Eprix to talk about as well, because I really did enjoy Sanya. So
yeah. I'm looking at my head. And I'm just realising how shiny I am. Like, it is baking. It is absolutely baking. My forehead is shining. So there you go. So I know not everyone in the world is in the UK, but in the UK we are basking basically in the heat. I think it was 28. It's 28 degrees today, right? So this is what it looked like at 28 degrees. Tomorrow it's going to be like 37 or 36. And then up to 39. There is even potential of 40 degrees. I think we might melt.
I know that we complain, but our houses are built to keep the heat in.
Yep.
Most of our buildings are. So when it does get above 30, it's cooler outside.
but what we will be doing to honour the World Cup, though, is we will be taking mandatory hydration breaks. Brought to you by Pepsi. Right. I'm only joking. So do remember...
Yeah, hydration breaks are definitely going to be needed. And it was interesting, wasn't it, with Sanya, because of how warm it was over there. Obviously, a lot hotter than probably what we have, because it's quite a climate there. But they needed hydration breaks.
I know, I'll tell you about it. But yeah, hydration breaks, definitely priority. So what we might do, actually, if you want to tell us where you are in the world, right, and what temperature is in the world that you are and how you're dealing with the heat, if you've got heat, we would like to know how you're dealing with it, because then maybe we can get some tips of how we can deal with the heat, or how jealous we are that you have air conditioning and we don't. So then we'll go with that. But let's kick on. I want to start with, there's quite a lot of stories to start with, but we'll start with the race winner, because I think that's the fairest place to start. Andretti dominated, really, and I was commentating practice 2 with Pico, and I was like, okay, Porsches look strong, Mahindras look strong. Didn't do quali because Pico and Birch were doing quali. Woke up, saw that they were top 2. I was like, okay, fair play. And then as the race sort of progressed, I was like, they did well, and I thought, okay, they've got a good chance. But I thought the red flag really hindered them, right? Because you had the likes of Oliver Rowland, who had his attack modes, hadn't used any yet. And obviously then once we restarted, Rowland had used his attack mode, got in front of Jake Dennis, and then it was 1-1. So he's got track position at that point. So I thought, there's no way, right, that Dennis can win this race now. Because you'd expect Nissan and Oliver Rowland, with their championship know-how, to sort of manage it from the front, right? And be able to, they were similar on energy, and I really thought they'll be all right. That's it. It's unfortunate for Dennis, the red flags cost him. But that wasn't the case. And again, using the attack mode late, Rowland starts squabbling and then ends up falling down positions. It allows Dennis in. Dennis uses the attack mode. Same with Dragovic. And they crossed the line 1 and 2. I thought it was a brilliant display from Andretti.
I also think they did a really good start as well by using the track width to their advantage, really, when they were stopping Verline before anyone had taken the tap mode. It looked like they were dueling, but by the end of it looked like they were just blocking it up, like making sure they held track position. So I think that was something that stood out at the very beginning before all the chaos unfolded. I was like, that is a fun strategy to have, because they were 1-2 on the grid, and well, when you've got that liberty, why not take it?
It reminded me of Jaguar, right, back in Monaco, because a couple of seasons ago when the attack mode wasn't as powerful and they were 1-2 and they sort of wait and they used the attack mode and they dominated and they got the 1-2 in that race. It had similar vibes, because I'll be honest, right, I really enjoyed Sanya. I thought it was really... Maybe it's the old school in me, right? Not you new schoolers who have only been here for a season or two up, but we love you anyway, right? But it was old school. It was tight. It was twisty. And I was sitting there, right? I was sitting there and I was texting some journalists. And I was like, are we sure? Like, is this isn't going to be on the Gen 4 calendar? Oh, it might be on the Gen 4 calendar. But how's it going to be on the Gen 4 calendar? It looks really tight. But that was the beauty of it. Like, that final corner, especially in practice and in qualifying, you made that you won or lost at your lap on that last corner because it was incredibly tight and people who were getting oversteer moments had to back out of it because you're going into a wall. And I think I kind of like that. You had the fast straights, the turn 9 hairpin, incredibly tight, allowed for mistakes, which we saw throughout the whole weekend. Obviously, it caused the red flag, which, not great, but... You know, I just generally thought, Kyle, that it brought some really good racing.
Yeah, and I think we were fortunate to have the red flag, actually, because we got 2 race starts. So we get that energy build-up mode again, where we get all of them close together to see, you know, who's going to be ballsy enough to make a move they shouldn't. So, and I was watching that race, and it's to me, it's the hairpin that's potentially going to take it off the calendar, because the car's obviously going to be bigger and quicker. But there's things they could potentially do. They could make it more slalomy, tighter, a bit like the castle sector in Azerbaijan. Like, they're never going to be able to widen that in Formula One. So can we make something similar? You know, make it deliberately slower? Then we might be able to find a way, or find another configuration. The whole place is beautiful, so you know, take us somewhere down the other way.
It's one of those places where it's not a major city. Right, it's not close to the city centre. It does seem like it was holiday resort. I think that's what JQ said. I don't know if you saw what JQ said in one of the practice sessions. I think it was FP1. He said, it's the first race he's turned up to. Why on earth have you turned up to Sanya? Apparently it's a holiday destination. So, you know, thought I'd come and try it, you know. Well, you know, merge a holiday and a trip to a Formula E race into 2. So it looked all right.
I did try and claim that, because in my videos I was saying it's a holiday destination, and I was like, hey, that's what I said. So maybe he's a fan of my channel, I don't know, but I'll take that.
Take it. We'll take it. In any win, we take it. But yeah, the only other thing that we got to talk about is the top 4 in the championship. None of them scored a point. And I remember going through the race, and I was on comms with race again with Birch, and I was like, it's okay for Evans right now. Roland wasn't in the points. He was down in down there. You know, Verline wasn't scoring many points. Then he got the 5-second penalty. I was like, it's all. And then all of a sudden it wasn't okay. And then all of a sudden it was okay again, because they all managed to get up to the front. You're like, oh well, you know, championship leads cut right down, and then they just all fell away out of the points. And you're like, we've got 6 races left, right? And I'm going to combine 2 of my segment points here, right? I don't think, right, even though Evans got the bit of the luck today, and he's ahead in the championship by quite a way, I don't think he wins the championship on pace. I think this is how Evans will win the championship. I think the Jaguar is quick. I think they need to out-strategize teams or get lucky, because look, if you look throughout that whole weekend, it's kind of been the tale of the season. Porsche powertrains, quick. Everywhere we go, Porsche quick. Mahindra, everywhere we go, they're quick. However, Mahindra, we'll talk about them a little bit later, I don't know. When it comes to a race, it seems like all hell breaks loose. But Porsche have been a bit unlucky, and that's allowed Evans to stay there. But if Porsche hadn't had, you know, apparently in Monaco, they had a bad set of tyres. Just a bad set of tyres, right? And you'd think that luck would not run out. And then in Sanya's, again, you get all those one-off races, tight, twisty layout, anything can happen. So I just think if Evans wins this title, he's not going to win it because he's qualified on pole and won races. He's going to win it off people having misfortune. That's my belief. If you think I'm wrong, come challenge me. But that's what I think.
Yeah, I think as well, there's some points as well. DS Penske haven't had a win yet, so that's going to throw a spanner in the works for the top 4. I believe that will be part of that sort of look for Evans. I think Da Costa's playing the game for now, and I think Ian James said that they're not prioritising anyone until they need to, and I do think that Da Costa may come through as a teammate. He obviously did it for Pascal for season 10, was it? So maybe he'll, be a proper teammate, knowing that Da Costa's going to lead that team at the end of the year. So hopefully that Evans can sleep soundly all the way to London, knowing that he has the best chances at this moment. But we've still got 4 rounds, is it, or 6 rounds?
Six races
left.
Right,
Yeah.
double Shanghai, double Tokyo, double London. There's only 6 races left of this season, which is incredible to think about.
There's still 200 points on the table, though, isn't there?
That's
not for drivers, actually. There'll be 100 and...
Oh, now you're making us do maths. 25 times 6, right? 25 times 6. And answers on a postcard. 25, 50, 75, 100, 125, 150 points, mate. Come on!
Yeah, sorry.
300?
Sorry. It's because I know the. No, it's because I think of the teams championship. Because there's 94 up for grabs if you count the 2 the 2 pole positions.
Yeah,
and
so you've also got pole
yeah.
positions to add into that as well. So there's a couple more points because you've got 3 points for pole position.
I am not the numbers corner, so I'm glad you got.
I should have been a bit better, but at least I thought, okay, I'll do the maths.
It's late and it's warm.
I'll do the maths. Pico's put 29 times 6, so he's obviously added up all the points together. So yeah, well, there's around about 150-ish points that are still left on the table. Maybe more like 175 by the time you add up all the pole positions points and so forth. But yeah, I think, I just think Evans, if he's going to win this championship, I just can't see it on pace. They have to score a few more poles, and I don't see them doing it. I just think the Mahindras are quicker, and I think the Porsches are quicker. I think Jaguar have a really good car, and are there at the front, ready to pounce. And I just think that's where they've been. They've been ready to pounce when the others have not done well. And Formula is so crazy that if you just get it right on a consistent basis, that's why Mortara's still in this championship battle. He's just been quick on a consistent basis. But he's had a bit of a bad luck. But lucky for him, others have had bad luck. So if it wasn't for that, Mortara...
Evans is just consistent, isn't he? Because he's scored every race from... He obviously won in Miami and then has had consistent points. And the worst result he had was a P7 in Saudi, and then the rest of them have been on the podium pretty much.
And that was Mortara as well. Like Mortara started strong, always picking up points, but lately it's gone wrong for Mortara. Yeah. But he's just lucky that others around him over these last couple of races. But that's why I think it's imperative. You have to win a race. You're not going to win this championship without winning a race, because eventually that consistency runs out. And the moment you're not consistent is when normally 9 times out of 10 the others take advantage. Sanya was an anomaly. The fact that no one took advantage, because really and truly the championship on a normal basis would be down to about 8 points again, or 10 points from the gap that it was. And here we are, and it's incredible to say that the top 4 in the championship didn't score. You wouldn't find that in many other racing series.
Sanya, well, that's what I love about this sport, is we always have races that throw something new. We haven't said the same storyline for any race, I don't believe. Even with the race winners, who's leading, this race was about the top 4 not even being able to compete and bringing in, especially 5th and 6th, maybe 7th if you count Muller, back into the fight. I mean, I still think, as you said, Evans has got definitely the best hand here, and I do think Oliver Rowland's going to come chasing down like a shadow.
Yeah.
But 5th and 6th in the championship, being Dennis and Da Costa, they are slightly behind, but they are at clawing distance of Pascal Wehrlein. So,
and if we think Pascal Wehrlein's in it, which of course he is, then I think they are in it, right? Because for them, it's not far away, right? They're on, like, I've written it down. It's here, right? They are, right. So if you look at Dennis and Da Costa, Sanya E-Prix, I've gone past the page on our lovely book. Sanya is here. Look, so Wehrlein's on 101, Dennis 94, Da Costa 92, right? Evans on 128, right? That's catchable for all of them. Even technically Nico Muller, you couldn't put him out of it on 89, because it only takes a DNF for Evans and Roland Mortara to be like 8th or 9th, with knowing how their pace has been this season. That could easily happen across the next 6 races. And we've just seen Dennis pull off a great win. We know Da Costa, if things go, could win. And Wehrlein, arguably at the moment, the driver who probably should win the championship because we think Porsche is that best car. So it's all catchable. So you might think Evan's sitting there on 128 with Roland on 109, right? You're thinking, okay, he's got a good advantage, but like that and it's gone. Bit like even in Formula 1, Kimi Antonelli, everyone's talking about the title being over, and then he doesn't finish in Barcelona, and it's like, oh, maybe title back on. Like, and it's not as over. It was ridiculous that people said it was over after, 5 races, but it just shows you, like, you can take nothing for granted.
And can I remind you? Well, obviously Jake Dennis won, but then Cassidy won the second race, and Cassidy's not even been there for like the last 6, has he? So it's you can't. Like I said, different storylines. It's crazy, and this is why I'm ever so grateful for the sport we have, because like we get to talk about the most outrageous things that motorsport gives us.
Yeah, which doesn't happen. Right. So what we're gonna do now is a little preview, little FEZ preview what's coming up on this show, because unfortunately Tobias Wirtz from eFormula.de cannot be joining us, so we will be taking your calls right now. But 9 o'clock, a special friend, a special man, he returns to his infamous 9 o'clock slot. We've missed him on the FEZ show, on the FE bar. Nick Golding will be back with us at 9 o'clock to give us all the latest information around Formula E and a little bit of a look ahead towards tomorrow's big calendar reveal and sporting regulations. So make sure you tune in for 9 o'clock because it's going to be a bit juicy. I know he can't say too much, but we'll try and get the best that we can out of him for the 9 o'clock when we speak to him. So now it is time to take your calls. !Discord, the switchboard, it's there, the waiting room. We've got a couple of people in there. If you're watching the show, you feel like, you know what, I want to have my say. !Discord, get in the waiting room and you can have your say on the only Formula E show which allows fans to have their say. We're going to start with Mazarol Khan, because I don't think I've ever had him first, and I think he complained, right? And I'm gonna shout it, don't complain that you're not on first, right? You are with us, Mazarol. I hope you are well. You are currently muted. If you don't come on in the next couple of seconds, I will, say this is why you're not first. You got to be ready on the ball.
Yeah, I've been commenting like since yesterday that you guys better pick me first this time.
I have. So I've seen the comments. And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give you a chance at opening the show. Right.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me pole position.
You're more than welcome. But we do love you. I do love you, by the way. You're always commenting on our videos. You're always giving us love. Saying, and honestly, from the bottom of mine, Pico's heart, it means the actual world that you do that. But what would you like to talk about?
First of all, I opened my stat tracker book. I wrote for the Sanya E-Prix. The pole position would be Felipe Drugovich, energized driver Mitch Evans, depleted driver Pascal Wehrlein, and my podium finishers were Eduardo Mortara first, second Nico Muller, and third Mitch Evans. For me, I was like, I think I might have jinxed it for some of them, if the names that I mentioned. But yeah, Drugovich was nearly on pole. He qualified P2. I was close on that. And I was slightly thinking that Felipe would finish on the podium. He did, then he gets a penalty. The penalty drama happens post Formula E. So now I'm like thinking that in my opinion, Mitch Evans, I feel that you were talking earlier about Mitch Evans is not going to win on pace. He needed to rely upon the luck of others malfunctioning or having some bad luck. Well, to be honest, I feel he deserves some of the good luck to him. He's already had bad luck 5 instances. So I fully appreciate, and I want Mitch Evans to have all the good luck charm as much as possible to ensure he locks out the title, because this could well be his last chance. We don't know what the Opel powertrain is going to be next season. It will come. He knows that realistically, it took him 10 years to have this team built around him and be a front runner. It took them, in fact, 3 to 4 seasons to become a upper front running team. So, like, I think it's going to be a test of holding nerves, and other drivers having the top four having an absolute stinker of an Eprix.
Yep.
That was completely unexpected, but this is what I think it's kind of like a nice farewell to Sanya. I know that some people, there was a debate, do we want this track next season or future season or not? I don't think it will fit in, but I think this is probably the last time we have seen the Sanya E-Prix, and it was we gave it a send off the Formula E way.
That's interesting, that, because I had a mixed opinion on like, some people said it will be on the calendar next season, like it will still be there, which I thought was incredible. Some people might say it might not be as well, but the fact that people are hinting that, you know, don't be shocked if you see Sanya on the calendar tomorrow, you know, it surprised me over the weekend, just in case. Like, there's no, I don't know, we might, something that we can see if Nick can talk about a little bit later on. But yeah, it did surprise me. I do get your point that, you know, Mitch has had his fair share of bad luck over, you know, I remember season 7 where he crashes into the back of Mortara from the start, you know, in Berlin.
That one is fresh in everyone's memory.
Like, it always comes out of just how unlucky he has been, and maybe he does deserve. So maybe, you know, it would be that romantic story of his last season with Jaguar, the season that he's, the team that he's been, since ever he started in Formula E.
Yes.
You know, and on that last one, he gets it and he moves on to pastures new. Like, the story, that would be the romantic end, and it still could happen. But I think you agree with me. I don't know. Do you agree with me that you think that he will only win it with a bit of luck and a bit of strategy rather than just outright pace?
It's like that car is the Jaguar powertrain. The Type 7 is, in my opinion, sometimes the best and other times a shocker. Like, it's not it is reliable, like, even if you're a customer team, but it's not reliable to the Porsche level. Like, if you look at the Porsche powertrain in comparison, even their customer teams have done well. Whereas, where was Envision? It was only spearheaded by Sebastian Buemi. You haven't seen Joel Eriksson being able to lob it on the podium. And Porsche having two customers, Porsche has two customer teams, so they have a bigger advantage. But then still, if Porsche didn't have like a reliable powertrain, then it would have been bad PR for them if their customer teams didn't do well. So that goes to show the testament of the Porsche 99X powertrain. I feel that after all this time, if I'm being honest, I have been absolutely disappointed with Jaguar in season 11 with how Evans went. He went through a string of 10 consecutive races without a point after his after a shock win in Sao Paulo from 22nd on the grid. Then he suddenly goes 10 races without scoring any points, and then suddenly comes back and wins Berlin. And wins Berlin from pole. So it's like his what I would say, his anomaly has been consistency.
Yeah,
he's just not been consistent at right moments. He picks up the big wins and everything, but then you look at Mortara, and Mortara, if I'm being honest, not even Oliver Rowland is like looking reliable. He looks shaky. It's like either podium or no points. It's been like nothing in between. And in my opinion, Rowland should be concerned if he is not having a minimum points finish if he's in a precarious position, because he's been relying upon bringing on the front of the grid. But when he's not on the front of the grid, when he's in the middle of the pack, in the points playing positions, he's not getting the points. So then, to me, the title contender to Mitch Evans feels like Eduardo Mortara.
Really?
Mortara has, yes.
What makes you say that? What makes you say that? Like, where did you pick that from? Like, what evidence have you got?
I'm telling you, Mortara looks the more. No, I'm gonna slap it on the couch. People did not realize this. Mortara, he's been consistently in the second and third position, and that's because he finishes in the points, in the higher range of points. Look at the number of pole positions. He has 3 poles. He's had 2 fourth place finishes, 2 fifth place finishes. That's like the equivalent of like breaking down a podium finish in a tough race. Yes, he had some stinkers, but look, even in Monaco, he was leading the race. He had a 10-second penalty and he still finished 5th. That's 10 points. To me, Mortara looks the much bigger contender to me towards Evans than Roland does. Roland is not trusting his car if he's in the middle of the pack, whereas Mortara knows how to spearhead and shepherd a precarious situation.
On paper, I agree with you, right?
Yeah.
Because on paper, right, Mortara and the Mahindra powertrain is better than the Nissan powertrain. 100%, no one can question that. But where I differ, and look, I am Frederick Bertrand's biggest like supporter. Like I love Frederick, but
I really like him too.
But there is something, I'm not going to say fundamentally wrong because that sounds harsh, but there is something not quite right with Mahindra, and I don't even know if they can put their finger on it, because you cannot be that consistently fast and get it so wrong, or have so many things go wrong. Either qualifying, there was an issue for Mortara. You can't have these little gremlins. You can't have these issues and win a championship. So he's on this bad run right now where he hasn't scored points. And the thing is, he hasn't won. He has to win. Shanghai, for me, if Mortara is going to be a championship contender, he has to win in Shanghai. That is a Mahindra track through and through. It is a racetrack, effectively, where they've been quick at all season long. From testing to Madrid to Monaco. Shanghai, if Mortara does not win, or does not get 2 like podium positions finishes, but for me, he needs to win in Shanghai. He's not winning this championship.
Okay, I'm gonna throw you another curveball. I don't think Mortara has to win a race. He just needs to be in the position. If he wins, to me, it's like a bonus to the level of consistency in being in the top points paying positions. If you look at the points table, I'm looking at it right now, and it's basically how many points finishes he had. 1 out of the 11 races. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. He only had 3 He had 2 return, 3 non-points finishes. 8 races he's been on the points finishes. In my opinion, and he has 2 podiums as well. But when he was not in the podiums, he has finished in the top 5, which is remarkably. He's had the 7th place finish as well. So what you need to analyze here is his average qualifying and average finishing position. His average qualifying position is good. His average qualifying position is 6.7. His average finishing position is, if I look at the stats, it was 6.9.
Do that in your head.
Yeah,
that was amazing.
If he's written it down. He's written it down.
I'm reading.
He's got a bullet point there.
Mazur comes with a PhD, like a dissertation. He comes with to the FE bar.
Yes,
He's got his stats. He's got everything ready to throw at us. And then we go,
Yes,
you're talking
yes.
nonsense. And then we go,
No, I'm not talking nonsense. I was reading eFormula News article by Tobias Wirtz this morning when he posted the statistics. To me, that's my favorite part after every race, reading that article about the post-race statistics after every pre-weekend, that eFormula News post. And Mortara, his qualifying position is 6.9, and his finishing position on average has been 8.1 after 11 races. Those are points-paying positions. And at the top, not even like Evans. Yes, Evans. If you look at it, Evans' qualifying position is below Mortara. It's 9.6, but Evans' finishing position has been good. That was 6.3. So Evans is up and down. Mortara has been consistently on top. At one point, he was the best qualifier for the first 5 races of the season. So you have to think that. I think not being in the shadow of consistently being a title contender kind of gives Mortara the psychological edge over the other title contenders.
all right.
To just be like, you have to understand, James Rossiter, he kept on saying that Mahindra to me are like the dark horse. Mahindra can win the team's championship. And I fully agree with him. That
Yep.
powertrain looks dangerously good. All the talk has been about, oh, it's going to be a Porsche versus Jaguar fight. It's going to be a Porsche powertrain versus Jaguar powertrain. Maybe Nissan can throw a curveball, but no one's talking about the Mahindra powertrain to that extent until De Vries won in Monaco. And yeah, I've seen Mortara finish on the podiums. He's regressing over the fact that we're missing out the win and everything. But if I'm being really honest, I think Mortara just needs to play low profile here. That's got to be an ace card right now in his championship. That psyche really will work. Who says you can win a title without winning a race?
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that, but I think if he's not winning, who is? Because that's if Evans is the one that's winning and he's coming third, it's not going to fix anything. That's the only thing I can think
That's
of
the only thing.
from what you're saying.
But Mazra, we're gonna have to cut it there. But honestly, we'll
okay.
have to see if that prophecy comes true because we've got quite a few people to fit in over the next.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Right.
Hope this conversation.
Yeah, it was
you
good.
enjoyed.
It was very good. We'll see if Mortara is the one that is the closest contender come the end of the
It's a good
season.
call.
We'll come back to it.
We will.
Come back.
You will come back.
Come back to me in end of London after for the London bar, and we'll see. We'll see where Mortara is the one.
I'll be there.
I know you will be. I know you will be. Thank you so much.
Ciao. Good night.
Ciao. Night.
See ya.
Let's get VS the Great in. He's also part of Dive Bomb, and I think this is the first time because he is based in India, if I believe I'm correct. I may be slightly wrong on that, but VS, you are on the bar. I've put you in. Hopefully you can hear us. Please unmute if you can, and we'll talk about it. I think you have. Hello, how are we?
I am good. This is my first time
I
coming
think
on
it
the
was your
FE
first
bar.
time. I'm delighted that it's your first time that you've come in on the FE bar because you've been a consistent chatter.
Just a little bit nervous as well.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous.
Yeah, I was nervous first time I
Right.
came on as a guest, so
Don't
it's
be
part of the
nervous.
first time.
But what would you like to talk
I'll
about?
try my best. Honestly, it was going to be about the Sanya circuit itself. Probably
Go on, then.
elsewhere, I've done a 90-second rant about turn 6 and turn 9. And honestly, I don't understand why we came back to Sanya, It just looking at every lap, there was some sort of incident at these two corners, It was these sections were turn 6 and turn 9 were like way too narrow for two cars to go side by side. I mean, it was absolutely absurd. Probably absurd as to why.
But
Formula E came back.
Monaco is it's just too hard to get two cars side by side. But we still go racing at Monaco every year. I disagree. I really enjoyed it. Like I thought, okay, yeah, there's chaos, but you've got to manage the chaos, right? And it was just old school Formula E. It reminded me of so many bit of Rome, bit of it. Just I don't know. It just. Maybe because it's been such a gap between going there,
Yeah,
they made a little
I think that's what
alteration,
happened.
and I really it just felt Formula E, and yeah, you get the chaos, you get the crashes, you get the red flag, which I suppose we'll have to talk about at some point. Maybe we'll talk about it here, but it felt Formula E. It felt right. I know that's not where we're going. I know it's like a nostalgia bug. And for me, I just felt it incorporated everything Formula E was. It was kind of like its swan song, basically, of where we have been over the last 12 years, and we're not going to be there anymore.
I think, this is a good point that I was also thinking about. Like, okay, maybe we've got used to all the strategic racing, the faster racing that you see on tracks like Berlin and even the permanent tracks we've been to. And I think it's kind of like I'm not used to seeing such sort of racing, I mean, I started following Formula E late into the Gen 2 era, and then I probably missed the peak of all this racing when it was chaos on the streets as well. I mean, but I think I'd also like to highlight Pepe Marti's performance.
Oh, of course, yeah, we did want
I'm
to talk about this.
honestly... sorry.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was absolutely spellbound because I feel like the guy was... Wait, he was stuck in that crash in turn 9. And you see him only at the end of the race, he's up there. He's in P3, he's in P2 this time. I mean, at some point, I'm like, how does he keep doing this? How does he keep pulling this off again and again and again? Because he just keeps coming back from all these low qualifying positions. I know Formula E said that, he's climbed up 71 positions in the races as well. But like, it honestly is making me think. I'm going to say this, but I think Pepe Marti might just be on for one of the best rookie seasons Formula E has ever seen. Maybe, I don't know, even on the level of what Taylor Barnard had last year.
To be fair, I don't know if I could argue with that because I was a big Taylor Barnard fan, Carl, and I think he's done brilliant. I just don't think the move to DS Penske has worked out for him at this precise moment. But Marty, the car, for me, it's the car, right? And we have to remember, yeah, it's a Porsche powertrain, but it's a 4-year-old Porsche powertrain. It's not, the current spec. And we have to remind ourselves of this. And the fact that he's doing these performances in this old car, and and Tictum has been like. I was going to argue that Tictum has had a fairly decent season because pace-wise, he's been up the front of the field, he's been in the duels, right? It just hasn't worked in the races. So, on paper, I'd look at his season and go, all right, your races have been good, but I'd sign you for next season because I know the pace is there, right? And Marty, as the growth has just been exponential, and I have to agree, I have been incredibly impressed with Pepe Marti, and I think he's doing a good job, and I think he's brilliant for Formula E, Carl, because he brings in the Spanish audience, and we can see how Madrid, for example, it was crazy.
It was packed.
With
And I think
Spanish
honestly also what I've started observing, maybe this is a recurring trend, We saw Taylor last year, we're seeing Felipe Drugovich make a step up with Andretti as well, and now Pepe Marti. I don't know what is it that's making, like, how is it just like Formula E? All these F2 rookies are starting to adapt to Formula E a lot quicker, and is it because the cars are getting closer in performance? Because I'm starting to think
Yeah,
that
I'm
way
glad
as
you
well.
said that because that's what I was thinking about after this race weekend with Monaco, with the podiums we had there, and then what we saw in Sanya. I was like, this is a great advertisement for anyone in Formula 2 who wants to keep a serious racing career, who might not have the opportunities to climb to the final step of Formula 1. So, and I think our F2 drivers, including Zane Maloney, have really performed in the seasons that they've had, to the point where you can see their F4, F3, F2, that journey to get really good means that they're in such a competitive environment. When they come to Formula E, they've just got these plethora of skills that they just tap into, it just makes them good off the blocks. And I think give them 6 rounds. Look, Pepe had a terrible round 1, but then after that he started showing his form when he got to Saudi, and since then, he's been mega and similar to Drogovic.
I mean, the way he sort of rebounded from Sao Paulo, I think it's been super impressive. I mean, he was pretty gutted after that as well, and I'm just impressed by the way he's been going about things. Really, it's a pleasing sight. I didn't expect to see him leading Cooper Kiro's charge this season, but damn, oh man.
Yeah, I said he's been incredibly impressive. Long may it continue, because right now, if he doesn't have a contract he should have a contract for next season.
He should, yeah.
Because
he's got his own fans. Did you see those fans
Yeah.
at the front of the podium? And they were like, "Oh, it was so cute to see."
I was concerned that there was no fans in
absolutely.
Sanya, to be honest with you. That was the only other issue you could have.
Yeah.
I have that because I didn't see a grandstand. I think I saw one grandstand by the exit of turn 1. Don't think there was another grandstand there, to be honest with you, for the remainder of that
They're all
whole
in the
race.
hotel, Jack.
They
but,
probably, maybe.
They're all in the Atlantis.
Actually, I
hotel.
just had a question.
Go
Just
on.
How many fans? What was the audience figures for Sanya? Do we
Oh,
have any idea of that?
I don't have any audience, like TV viewing figures.
No, like track
Oh,
attendance. and all that,
I
because
don't
was not
know.
able to find anything.
I don't know, but there was an interesting thing. They do the autograph session, and I said if they managed to do Lola and Kira, it was actually Marty and Degrassi. They signed each other's cards because there was no one in the pit lane, and I was like, if you're doing that on an autograph session, and trust me, I've been in many autograph sessions, and they are packed to the rafters normally, especially in Europe. And if I go to Tokyo, I'm sure Tokyo will be packed to the rafters as well.
With all the
yeah.
Nissan fans.
So the fact that they were able to do a little Instagram reel of signing each other's cards would never have been able to have happened. So it kind of tells me that I'm not saying it wasn't well attended. It may have been at capacity for what it was, but it's definitely not selling the most amount of tickets. Which goes to Pico's point, because Pico is in chat. He said, "Why were we in Sanya? Money, right? Money."
Well, but also Sanya loved having us there though, because I was trying to find out information, and I stumbled across Sanya's YouTube channel. I don't know if it was a resort, but it looked like just the whole city's YouTube channel, and they were sharing some updates of the track being built and stuff, and the FE car was in the banner, so it's like they really want us there. Obviously, I know that there will be a financial connection. Obviously, China, I would say, is the leader of electric cars in the world, so it makes sense to have our series there. So yeah,
I fully agree on that.
Yeah.
And Formula E wanted, and maybe for Sanya, because it is a holiday destination, it is what is the best way to show off your city and what the hotels and resorts might look like, by putting on a global race which can be seen globally, and people can go, all right, if I go to China, maybe I go to Sanya and check out the holiday resort there, and so forth for perhaps, a couple of days and so forth. So I think that's also a big part, and I think a big part of why most people might choose to go to Sanya.
Also, I just wanted to
race. Go on.
Just had a bit of a pointer here as well. I think you were all talking about Mitch Evans winning this title and all that.
Yeah.
I feel like what I've seen from this, in the past, he's always left it a little bit later to make that comeback to be in championship contention. But this time he's been ahead, rather than being the chaser, he's being chased. So maybe he's just channeling all the sort of like the motivation and the drive from all those seasons, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna do it this season and sign off from Jaguar on a high, the longest team driver partnership. So maybe he's just like, I think this is it. This is that. I don't know, what is the term you use? Like the final showdown.
Yeah. Like,
I think that is what the season is gonna be like.
Yeah, and it might not be like he needs to be the quickest. It just maybe it's his time. And
he just does it.
This was the way it was always meant to be. It was always going to do it. Sometimes there is that Hollywood script in a sense, and that could be the script for Evans. Before we let you go, Vias, thank you. Been a brilliant first time caller. Do come back. Really enjoyed having you on.
For sure.
But I want to ask you,
it was lovely being
whereabouts in the world are you? Are you in India? Am I right in that, or are you somewhere else?
I am from India. I am from this city called Bangalore.
Okay. So, can you help us? Because in the UK, right, we're going through like 37 degrees, maybe even 41 degrees on Wednesday, right? Can you give us some advice? What can we do to stay cool in the heat? What do you guys do in India? Because it's baking in India.
Yes, I agree. I mean, we had a big summer where it was 36 or 37 degrees, and that's quite a lot for my city as well. And honestly, I'd say just hydrate, be safe, and then I don't know if this is sold in the UK, but then tender coconuts, there's what we have here, and then that really helps, it gives you all
eating a coconut, drinking a coconut, like drinking the water?
Drinking from a tender coconut, tender coconut water. That is a real game changer, it's far more useful than just plain water. That's what I've figured out this year.
I tried coconut water once, and I wasn't the biggest enjoyer of it, I'll have to admit.
Might be useful in this scorching weather.
Might have to try again. Especially the way this week might be going, right? And and a little heads up, we'll do a little FEZ preview. Another one. There will be another FE bar this Wednesday. Talking about everything tomorrow. So on Wednesday we'll be going through. The reason why it's not tomorrow, it's a bit biased, but England are playing in the World Cup, and we thought competing with England, it's not a good idea. So we're gonna go on the Wednesday and discuss everything about the calendar, all the changes, and the rule changes as well in the sporting regs, because the sporting regs should also be released. So we'll have a day to sort of work it out, and then we can get our opinions. But VS, it's been
Sorry, just saying it. Just wanted to say, I think that's going to be the most exciting thing because honestly, I'm just waiting for the calendar. I keep seeing
Yeah.
like, okay, today is like the day before Christmas for a Formula E
It
fan.
did.
I think that the calendar, I think, will be really telling for how the Gen 4 is going to be. I think
True.
that's how
Yeah.
I'm going to look at it. Is okay. Where's your double headers at? You'll get a feel for it, and also I imagine they're going to announce what's going to replace London if it doesn't continue.
Yep. Which we are expecting.
Alright.
Which we are expecting. But VS, we're going to let you go. We're going to try and squeeze in one more call before Nick at 9, and we
Thank
also
you so
we
much,
also want to take a small
folks.
we also want to take a small break at 9 o'clock. To get everything ready for Nick Golding. But thank you so much for coming on. Hopefully, thank you so much, because I know India's like 8 hours
Absolutely.
ahead.
Thank you for
Like, so
having me
you've
on.
done
It's lovely to chat.
Yeah, amazing, and amazing to have you. So hopefully we'll have you on more.
Right. Thank you. and
See you later.
folks.
Right, just to end this segment, I'm going to get Sparkplug Motorsport in, who I think we have had on before. Hello, Sparkplug. Remind me of your name, because you've told me your name, and I can't remember because it's not...
Yeah, I go by VDS most of the time. It's just been what I've been called for the past
VDS.
BDS.
BDS. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, you're...
I'll
That's
you're-
rejog your memory, Jack. He
Yes.
was on SB10's video.
Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
he was on SP10's video, but I
Yeah,
can't
I came
remember his...
second.
I can't remember. I know, but I was like, I swear there's a name, because I like calling people by their names, but if you go by BDS, then
Yeah.
that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But because I was just like, it's always nicer to have people's names when you come on shows like this, and
I know.
and so forth. But it's lovely to speak. It's
more
lovely
of a
to
piracy thing for now.
yeah, lovely to speak to you again.
Yeah.
What would you like to talk about?
I mean, first of all, congratulations, Carl, on 1,000.
Yep.
Winners.
Second of all, this is a totally separate thing compared to everything else. It's just been, for me, this season we've had a new graphics package for Formula E. I
Mhm.
personally think it looks clean,
Yep.
but I feel like they might have introduced it a season early because it looks so clean, so black, and so futuristic, again, like they were doing with the Gen 1, except almost inverted in the colors.
Yeah.
I think it would have been better to introduce it next season to really have the new era of Gen 4.
To be honest with you,
is
I wouldn't surprise me if
set
there's something.
introduced.
I wouldn't surprise me if there's something new coming for next year. To be honest with you, on the graphics side of things.
Which would make
I get
this
I get that
year's
point, but I don't
rebrand.
see why they would hold out if they've got it good, because I think it is just trying to work on innovation after innovation. So I think it doesn't make any sense to do it this season or next season, because it wouldn't be that big of a thing. I know what you're talking about, but I just think it doesn't make any sense if they've got it good
Yeah.
and it works. Just do it when it works.
Yeah, I would agree on that point, because you don't want to. Graphics can change and they get updated like so much, and you can always add new things in, and they probably will have to add new things in for whatever the sporting regs or whatever the ways that we go for Gen 4, and that will have to be incorporated into the graphics so it's easier for us to understand. So as I said, it wouldn't surprise me. This might be a good base for them that they've introduced this year, so they've got the base ready, and then it's expanded upon going into Gen 4, the Gen 4 era.
I
Yeah.
think the graphics this year just were consistent with the Formula E branding. If you look at the website, it feels very connected to that. So I think, to be honest, it was a branding decision why they decided to push more into that. So
I think the branding that they had since season 9 and what they had for the graphics with that as well, I feel like that felt a lot more intertwined with the new logo and everything that they had around that, because I found a lot of GIFs that showed the E itself being animated. I think you chuckled because I said GIF and not GIF. I get it, and I'm still mad. But I feel like the way they incorporated the E, like, swooping around in a lot of the graphics, like with the driver name,
Yeah.
that looked cool, and now losing it in favor of just having a little curve on the end is a little disappointing. Which is
less is more, though, in
Yeah.
a design world in most
It
cases.
is,
Though,
it is.
So
and,
Any-
it's,
I think
and there's also another thing.
Go on.
Me or Carl?
No, I mean, I think
Oh,
you
all I was going to say was of comparing it to Gen 2, because I didn't watch Gen 2,
The
it's before
chevrons.
my time.
Oh, yeah, I do
And
remember the chevrons.
the graphics now, I feel like I'm watching a classic racing series because it's just old to me, like it's before my time. So I love the new graphics because it does separate the time periods up. But that was all I was going to
It's
add.
fresh.
Yeah. You know, speaking of Gen 2, when they re-uploaded the Sanya race, I was really shocked to hear Bob Varsha in the booth, and he sounded really good. I'm now feeling like I really missed out in 2019, 2020.
But Bob Foster
For
was
that
with
reason.
us. He was with us for a little. He was with us for a little bit, back in like a season or two. He was like a third commentator, just there in the background. But sometimes stepped in and when needed. When Jack Nicholls maybe couldn't be around with any clashes with F1 or so forth. So, but he didn't normally pick FE over F1. But sometimes I don't know if it was Monaco or something like that, or something big, British, you know. That he didn't, so we did get a couple ones. Or if it was in America, like Portland, I think he covered. I think Bob Varsha did Portland for us as well. But yeah, anything on the race before we let you go before we break?
Mortara and his retirement, I think. Did Mortara retire because it was early in the
Yeah, he
morning?
did. He didn't score any points. So
Yeah, was that due to the front wing? Or
No,
something
so
else?
No.
the reason why Mortara retired was his you know the thing they pull to kill the engine or the
Yes.
powertrain that went
Yeah.
off. So they Mahindra, where did they put it? I think they put it on Instagram. They tagged Nico Hulkenberg because it was the same thing that happened to
Yeah.
him in Monaco.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so I found that out, so I thought it was really interesting. So that's apparently why he retired, was the kill switch. That's what I was thinking of. The kill switch went off in a strange, miraculous way, which is interesting because I thought Jackie would have known that, and that's why when we talked about Mortara earlier, I was
forgot.
like, and
You should have
and
mentioned
Evans's luck would have been the kill switch. So
yeah,
it's
If
an
I had a
interesting one.
nickel for every time this has happened, somehow I have 2 nickels.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's incredible how bad luck, obviously can strike. But that's what I said. It was just incredible that the top 4 in the championship didn't score points, and for one reason or another. But that's what we're saying. Like for me, for Mortara, in terms of, just to wrap this up, in terms of, he has to win a race. He's not going to win this championship because anything can happen, right? And you need 25 points, to make an impact, because it doesn't mean that the person, you got 4 people in this championship fight potentially, or maybe 6. Not all of them are going to finish second and third. You're going to gain on someone in that race. You have to win. So BDS, we'll cap it there because we're going to go for a break because we've got Nick at 9 at 9.
Right.
But thank you
very much for having
so
me.
much for coming on, and we'll speak to you soon. Maybe on Wednesday.
See you all in London.
All right, see you later.
you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to take a small break. So it's the perfect time, mandatory hydration break, like they are doing in the World Cup, because because we've got Nick at 9 coming up in about a couple of minutes' time. So we will see you very soon.
It's Nick and Nine. It's Nick and Nine. It's Nick and Nine. Yo.
It is, ladies and gentlemen, it is Nick at 9. It has been a while, Mr. Golding, but you're so busy, and I'm so proud that you're so busy flying around to all the races, so that means it's very hard for you to, and I know you've tried, but airport, jet lag, but the fact that you're at the races is amazing, and is an incredible achievement to be able to go to all the races. So, how are you, Nick?
I was very kind, thank you. I mean, it's not Nick at 9, it's actually Nick at 6 minutes past 9.
Yeah, I know, but it's never really Nick at 9, but you know what I mean.
No, very kind words, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm doing well. Like you guys, getting on with the heat, it feels like Sanya conditions.
It does.
What can I say? I'm acclimatising, it feels like, for Shanghai, because I will be flying out there next week, although it looks like Shanghai is actually going to be pretty wet and, well, miserable like last year. But no, yeah, I'm pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad, mate. We're surviving in the heat. My head's really shiny, as I can see on the
we
camera.
We complain a lot. I'm sorry. Like, you know what? We complain when it's cold.
Yeah.
I quite like the heat. It's the humidity I hate. I just went for a quick walk, and I say quick. I've come back and I'm dripping. But no, I'm making the most of the weather. But it's a nice change. I don't like the cold. I quite like the hot conditions, so this kind of works for me.
Today was fine. I'm not ready for 37 and potentially 40 degrees over the next 2 days.
Well, I mean, I'm racing Wednesday as well, and I'm kind of thinking that my race start is 7 p.m. and it's going to be, I think, still 32 degrees, but feel like 37. Now, I like to think I'm, quite a fit and healthy 26-year-old, but I don't fancy doing karting for about an hour and a half in those conditions. But
wow,
yeah,
incredible. Well, good luck, first and foremost, in the race.
I need it.
Yeah, let's talk. Apparently, you're on a championship. Apparently, you're on a championship run, right? So, how's it been going? You're second.
I'm second right now. It's been a couple of bad rounds. Do I blame the equipment or the driver? I'm not sure.
Always the equipment, mate. Come on. That's what the drivers. That's what the drivers have taught you. Pascal Verlaine told me. Pascal Verlaine in Monaco told dodgy tyres, mate. Dodgy tyres.
I think that's most in the moment. And it's going well, thank you. It's hopefully a good round Wednesday, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Okay, right. Let's talk Sanya then, because obviously, I'll be honest. I thought it was an old-fashioned, maybe nostalgia's getting the better of me. Formula E race as a Formula E track, but it did have its incidences, and we're going to start with the red flag kind of situation because we haven't actually managed to talk about that much. Because I was commentating, and I was concerned that maybe that red flag was called a bit too early from the FIA. Do you think they did the right call, or do you think it was called a bit too early? What do you know? What have you discussed or spoken to the drivers about that situation?
What do I think of Sanya? I'll be honest, I thought it was a complete mess from start to finish. It was just, I think, as we expected, based on what happened back in 2019, just pure carnage left, right and centre, incidents everywhere, penalties. It was just, and then the red flag was just kind of the tip of the iceberg in a way.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I think I've not timed it, but I've seen the figure floating about that from the moment of the incident starting to everyone being back in their wagon was 9 seconds. So, it didn't need a red flag. There was, and I think the problem is the red flag wasn't needed, but it happened. So, okay, you have to get on with it.
Yeah.
But then it was to repair the barrier at turn 9 when
yes.
showed that the barrier at turn 9 didn't actually wear. I think it got a bit of a graze from Zane Maloney, but it's frustrating because obviously the drivers did this letter to the FIA, pointing out things they're not happy about, and stewarding was one of them, and some of the decisions being made. And I think when you watch Sanya back, you can't argue against what the drivers are saying, because how can they have, faith in race direction when calls like that are being made? I'm only pleased that at the end of the day, I think the right driver still won. Jake Dennis was, brilliant. From start to finish, just so much control, and actually it was quite enjoyable to see the driver and a team just stick to their strategy and it pay off. There was commentary was saying, is he taking it too late? His attack mode? Actually, it was bang on the money. It was perfect. It should have been maybe an Andretti 1-2, but regardless, Jake was just flawless. That's the best he's been for a little while. Of course, yes, one in Sao Paulo, and in a similar fashion, actually, in a way, it's really controlling and not getting involved in other people's shenanigans, just getting on with his strategy. But it was like old school Jake Dennis from season 9. I just thought he was a brilliant drive by him. But yeah, for me the red flag was I just don't understand it, and I think there's that kind of, I mean, I don't know what was worse, the red flag or the 6 hours for the results to be classified. And what really worries me is, let's imagine that's London race 2. So that London obviously starts a bit later. It's a 5 p.m. race start. Let's say it finishes at around 6 p.m. So,
means we don't leave till 10.
That would mean, plus 6 hours that we get the classified result and potentially the championship winner at midnight. Who's going to pull Mitch Evans off the dance floor to tell him at 10:30 to go to the stewards? It's just, I want to be supportive of the
Yeah, of course.
I want to be, and I think the drivers as well, they want to be supportive. They want to, be saying the right things and speaking to the drivers afterwards. Not all of them, but a good bunch of them, all pointing out they just don't understand it. They want to, be able to say the right things and be seen as supportive, but ultimately they struggle to support somebody, obviously Ian Marek, when things like this being made. In my eyes, the red flag was just a complete mistake.
Yeah, it is what it is. I really want to talk. Let's just go back to the Dennis kind of situation, because I think they were quick all weekend. And I said it earlier in the show. I don't know if you've heard it, because I didn't think Mitch Evans would win this championship on pure pace. I think it'd have to be strategy and luck for Mitch Evans to win it. But I did write down in my notes, I wanted to talk about attack mode, because when, obviously, after the red flag, Roland overtook, right? And then it was 1-1. They both had one attack mode left. And I thought, there's no way, right? Roland's got track position now. Surely Nissan, a team that has won the championship, can manage the situation from here. So I thought. But obviously, what I've learned from this season, and maybe you the same, is how late these attack modes are. And it seems the later you have it, the more powerful it becomes. And I just think attack mode might play a really decisive role in deciding who is the champion this season, because I think if you can time it right and have good pace, as we saw with Dennis, he looks like he was out of it, and then all of a sudden he's right back in it and he's won the race.
But I agree. That strategy itself, though.
Yes.
I agree. Yeah, I agree and disagree, because ultimately, yes, Jake took it late, but he also had a bit of an energy advantage because that was the strategy to kind of lead the opening stages, and then, not go too much into the pack, but sit around 7th, 8th, save some battery, and ultimately had a bit of an energy advantage by a couple of percent coming into the race, so he could take the attack mode, cycle back through to the front. The problem is when you look at Tokyo, you can't really do that. We saw, in the past, overtaking at Tokyo is not easy. London, you can't do that. London is a bit of, I don't want to say a procession, a chaotic procession, if that's even a thing. Shanghai, yes, you could, we know you can get a lot of overtaking there if it's dry. So I agree and disagree. I think for someone like Shanghai, you could probably see something similar again in, drivers maybe trying to take attack mode quite late, saving energy for, say, 75% of the race, then doing that. But I think for somewhere like Tokyo and London, you can't take that gamble, because to overtaking is so difficult. It only takes one late incident, one safety car. I think it was Taylor Barnard, actually, who'd activated attack mode when I think it was either the red flag happened or the safety. Yeah, so, that was ultimately, his race, his podium chances over. So, I think it's just one, you've got to read the situation that's going on. And I think for Jake, it was just, from start to finish, it just worked really well. Again, he was just in complete control. His package was really strong. It was great to be pushing him as well. And this is a Jake Dennis who, speaking to him afterwards, said himself, the title's on. The title hunt is on. He still believes. For me now, this has become a 6-horse race.
100%. We were talking about this earlier because, what was it, 94 points? 94 points Dennis is on, and 92 with Da Costa. And I said, might not even rule. I don't think Nico Muller's going to win it, but Nico Muller on 89 is, he's still in touching. But realistically, I'm fully with you.
We know that Pascal's their guy. We know Pascal, if it's going to be a title fight, it's going to get to a point. It would not surprise me in Shanghai if we start seeing maybe Nico helping out Pascal. Or maybe that's still too early. But for me, it's a 6-way fight, but I think there's a good chance it'll become a 4-way fight after Shanghai. I think for Jake Dennis in particular, yes, he's got himself into, title contention, 34 points adrift. It's not many, but I still feel he needs a good Shanghai. I think it's so rare to see the top 4 in the championship all fail to score points. It's remarkable that Mitch Evans went from having insane bad luck, having Dan ticked and drilled him, is what he said to me. Launch over him, and Mitch must be thinking, well, and it hits me. I thought that was a title league gone, I thought it was going to be just completely obliterated. And then all of a sudden, Ollie crashes out from his own mistake. Edo has obviously the kill switch going off, and it's just one thing after another, and all of a sudden Mitch has a bit of very rare luck on a day that was unlucky. So I think
Yeah.
for Jake, he needs a good Shanghai. But don't rule him out. A fast Jake Dennis is difficult to stop. It's interesting to see.
Especially in that Porsche powertrain. What did anything that you managed to speak to any drivers? Did anyone give you any interesting nuggets? Because obviously Mitch Evans, what did he say like on his championship? Because obviously I said, and I said we'll go back to what I said. I don't think he can do it on pure pace. What does he think?
I mean, I asked him the question, do you feel you were lucky in the fact that you ultimately, scored no points, but neither did your rivals? Or does it feel unlucky because ultimately it's a good chance to actually maybe extend your lead? Because actually, I think Mitch across practice, and I'll be honest, I disagree with what you just said, because Mitch across practice, yes, he didn't look great, and you were thinking, oh no, this is going to be a bad weekend.
Yeah.
Come qualifying, he was absolutely on it. Qualified in third on pure pace, and again, he was another one who I think was having a really good race. Was strategy for me was on point. He was up on energy, had 6 minutes of attack mode still to go, and then Dan launched over the top of him.
Yep.
And that was for him obviously race over. And this is something else that he was pointing out, that actually it was that incident itself which ruined his race. It wasn't the red flag. So the incident with Dan, it bent the right rear suspension.
Yep.
Also, the rear wing fell off, and it was then the thing that the FIA wouldn't let him go back out without the rear wing, but others were, like Pepe Marti had duct tape, keeping his car intact. So a bit of weirdness there, but Mitch was very much saying that it was, lucky in one sense, in the fact that, no harm, no foul, no damage, loss. He still got a 19-point lead going into Shanghai.
Yeah.
But at the same time, had he finished that race, he was on track for, worst case scenario, a top 5, probably a podium, maybe even the win. And with what happened to everyone else, he could have been quite easily going into Shanghai with maybe a 25, 30-point lead. Ollie Rowland was saying how the mistake was, completely his fault, just brake too late.
Yeah.
Was obviously overtook Pascal, was really trying to get away because he felt he could catch those ahead. I also wonder as well with Ollie, and possibly with Pascal as well to a certain extent, and not so much Edo, but they obviously saw what happened to Mitch. They saw at the restart, he wasn't with them, he was a lap down. They probably saw that as a chance to really get some big points back on him. Ollie, had it not been for the crash, could have gotten through to it. Would have probably, I'm trying to figure this all out now based on the post-race penalties, would have finished most likely on the podium, which would have seen, Mitch's lead reduced to maybe 4 or 5 points. Maybe that was him trying to push too hard to get more points. But yeah, I think Mitch personally can count himself lucky, but I think the good thing for Mitch is it was a circuit where he started badly in practice, but actually come the end of it, looked pretty quick. And I think going into Shanghai, it'll be, and I think the Jaguar is, in my eyes this season, the best car now. I think that is the package to have. It just seems to be every venue it looks quick, whereas the Porsches are quite inconsistent. Some of them look good, some of them don't. So yeah, I'm intrigued. Mitch, lucky but unlucky. It depends which way you want to look at it.
I get that.
Very similar to Madrid, isn't it? Because they didn't turn up in Madrid.
Yeah.
And then they 1-2, didn't they? So
then come the race,
Yeah. But to be fair, Jaguar are quite good at that. To be fair, I felt like Mahindra have been the quickest, but for whatever reason, they just can't put it together come race day. The two drivers. It's really incredible. I think, just to end the segment, we've got to mention Pepe Marti. Because how impressed have you been with him? Because, like, I think he's brilliant for the sport because the Spanish audience and what he's done and the amount of Pepe Marti fans there are, I think is incredible. But to do what he's doing, and remember, in a powertrain that is technically 4 years old, it's incredible.
It's incredible. It's it's a good thing to remember that his season started upside down in Sao Paulo. It's now he's come on to a podium in Monaco, and then obviously a podium in Sanya. I think he has very quickly understood how to race in Formula E, and it's interesting to see how good he's become at quite quickly carving his way through the field. At one moment in Sanya, he was down in 18th. The next moment, you look at the timing board, and he's up in 4th or 5th, and it's like, where do you come from, Pepe? So I think he understands the racing really well. For me, the big question mark is still one lap pace. To give, Dan has destroyed him on that front. Dan is consistently now one of the quickest, challenging for a space in the final in pretty much every race recently. So, but there's actually quite an interesting stat that at the moment we look at the standings, and Dan is 1 point closer to Zane Maloney in last than he is to his own teammate, which is, I think goes to show how good a job Pepe's doing, because Dan's not an easy driver to beat. Yes, Dan is making his own mistakes and things have gone against him, but I think Pepe is adjusting really well, and I'm really intrigued to see what happens, coming Gen 4, and I think that's something that's going to really suit him because it looks like he'll be sticking around. He's not confirmed nothing yet, but from speaking to him, it looks like the expectation is he will stick with Kiro next season, which I think everybody would, it would be a surprise if he didn't because he's doing such a good job, and I just feel that the one lap pace of the area he still needs to improve because he can't rely on carving through the field everywhere. You can't qualify 18th in London and expect to get a podium. You've got to be really qualifying top 10, get into the duels. Tokyo probably the same as well.
That's where Oliver Rowland's got his best results, though, outside the qualifying positions.
I mean, it's just for me. It's I just feel he can't rely on carving through the field everywhere.
Yep,
it's just
it's
you
true.
can't. If he wants to, it's not happening this year, but if he wants to become an FE race winner, a championship contender at some point, you can't do that qualifying 16th or below every single race, So, yes, he's very good at carving his way through the field, but for me, the one lap pace is still in a car which quite clearly can do it because Dan's proving that it has got one lap pace.
Yep.
So that's my, race pace you can't falter in his, aggressive overtakes, sometimes questionable, don't get me wrong. He's also a really nice guy. That's the important thing.
I do like him. I think he's a
he
good
enjoys
kid.
the paddock. He's liked in the paddock, and but for me, one lap pace is the thing to unlock.
Yeah, for sure. Right, just to end this, I know we said we wouldn't talk about anything on the calendar or sporting format. So to end, just to give our audience just a little bit of hype, a little bit of encouragement for tomorrow. One word. What would you sum it up all in one word?
2 words.
2 words.
No comment.
No comment. Still couldn't get it. I tried, people. I tried, people. I was hoping for like an intriguing, something that was like bit bland.
I am leaking nothing.
Leaking nothing
out of me.
Well,
wait and see tomorrow.
All right, then. No worries. I fully respect that though, but I had to try just for the audience. Hopefully, we'll obviously be doing a show Wednesday. I know you're racing on Wednesday, but if we can squeeze you in, just to get your thoughts on everything that's happened, because I know Nick, like for everyone watching, make sure you are reading his content at Racing News 365. He puts his content in our Discord, so if you're not in our Discord, also get in our Discord, because the hard work that this man has done to get all the content, all the news is just been magnificent this season. So well done for all your work. I know it's not over yet.
Still time to cock it up,
right? But you're doing an amazing job. We absolutely love you on the FE bar and everyone from Formula E Zone, and I'm sure that extends to the whole Formula E community of just what a good job you are doing. So hopefully we will speak to you soon on the FE bar again.
See you later, guys.
See you later, Nick.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye. What a top guy. I love Nick. Such a good guy. Such a good guy.
The one thing I didn't think we didn't pick up on, and I hope if whoever's joining next wants to talk about this, is some of those penalties decisions. Because actually, there was one thing I was going to ask Nick, but we only have so much time with him.
The penalties. The one thing I also was I was even considering asking was about like the Drugovich penalty. Like the Drugovich is finished P2 in the race. We have not seen the incident with him and Verline. It wasn't covered, right? People trying to find evidence, and he's lost P2. It's such an important position that he's lost, and we don't know really what has happened, right? And why he's lost that P2 and what the incident was, and that for me is concerning. Like if you know an incident has happened and and it has affected the race effectively, or it could affect the race because it was under investigation, but it didn't. It got shown after the race. But people are like, I saw people in Discord trying to scour through the just try and see if there was any like shot, and they said this is maybe where it happened, but we didn't actually see it because this was the only time on the camera where Drugovich was behind Verline.
But they also they re-uploaded the highlights, but they only took the table off the end.
Yeah.
So it's like they didn't give us any extra information, which is quite annoying. But I'll just add a point before we bring someone in. Is obviously as a Da Costa fan, I follow him on Instagram, and I think it was this morning he was moaning about the FIA and how he hadn't got any information of why his penalty was applied, which I thought was.
Do you think it was a penalty?
I mean, I watched his onboard on his Instagram story, and to be honest, it was kind of, he just closed the gap. Car slowed down in front, he just slowed down like we would in the outside lane if somebody was, he did that last minute thing. It was kind of like that, and then obviously he then caused, it was like a they all just backed into each other. So
Because it's caused great debate. Because some people like so it's you know, Stonewall. It feels like a penalty.
Yeah,
Stonewall
yeah.
penalty, right? He's driven into the back of him. Like he's basically gone into Norman's lane too late, and he's basically gone into his braking zone safe area. He just popped himself in Norman's braking safe area, and Norman's got nowhere to go. And I can see that argument. Argument, but then I can also see the argument. Well, Da Costa was in front, and it's not a normal road situation. And yes, he's moved under. Yes, he's moved under braking. Granted, which is where the penalty potentially has come from, and that's what it says on the FIA notes. He moved under braking, but
which you can see.
Yeah.
But then that incident is so unique because of the way the hairpin is, and also there's an element. And obviously, I've not driven a Formula E car, but they're going to be very similar to the electric cars with the regen, where there's like this whole phase of slowing down that the car does on its own, and then you put the brake on. So there's elements where I think they've lifted off, they've regened, but then it's run out of time and just straight into the back.
It's interesting. I don't know, but the best person to talk about this is probably a fellow Da Costa fan.
There's two of us now.
There's two of you now. You're ganging up on me. It's not fair. You Da Costa fans. We'll go there, Ricardo. Lovely to have you on as always.
Hello, Ricardo.
What was your view on the penalty that Da Costa got that cost him 5 seconds?
Well, to be fair, I'm more on the side of Norman jumped a bit into Antonio's line, kind of, because they weren't side by side. But either way, sure, you have to mind your own space. But the thing is, it was like, let's say the Dan and Da Costa incident from Monaco, but instead of Antonio having a bit of a car length on the side of Dan's car, it was just behind. When you see Antonio's line, he goes fully on the racing line, and then Norman does kind of what Dan did in Monaco, but there you go. Antonio was a bit behind, and I mean he just goes like he has a gap of 2 seconds behind him. It is my view, to be honest. I could argue could be some blame on Da Costa, because you have to be careful of what's happening or of the things happening in front of you. But still, you can't have like someone just shimmying from one lane to another, like nobody else is close to you behind. You know?
That's what I was gonna say. Do you think? Because for me, both of you as Da Costa fans, right? I'm gonna go back to Cassidy and Dennis in Monaco, where Cassidy was trying to avoid Norman hilariously, and literally turns right, and it's the famous, good luck everybody else. That's and it felt like a little bit like that with Da Costa. He's kind of just turned into Norman's line, right, and just said, well, I'm just gonna go here, right, and if I get away with it, I get away with it. If you hit me, you hit me in a sense, right? Trying to stop. I feel like there's similarities between those two penalties. Cassidy got 10 seconds that day because, the Monaco penalties were strict that day, but Da Costa got 5. Personally, I can see, I see both sides. I can see why the 5-second penalty was given because of that chop into Norman's lane. Do you see similarities between the two?
Yeah, definitely with the Cassidy one,
Ricardo.
I mean, there could be some similarities, but then again, I think Norman got the worst out of it, and in my point of view, I think he was more to blame. But then again, I could, like you said, Jack, I could see this go one way or the other, to be honest. But yeah, nothing much more to add, to be honest.
I think my problem with the penalties is the way that they enforce it in Formula E. I don't think work. I don't think time penalties work for a sport where the pack is always within milliseconds of each other. I think there's got to be something they can rethink up. And I know that I can hear Pico now going, get rid of pack racing, and then you wouldn't have that problem. But is there another alternative that they could do? And I've got some ideas, but it's just, I don't know. I just think we've got to enforce stuff because you can't just take people's carbon fibre off for fun. But also, I don't think the traditional method that works in other racing series works because they don't do stops really, so they can't even serve it.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you, and so would Taylor Barnard, because that's exactly what he said to me after Monaco. He said that the penalties in Formula E kind of, they're not as fair. 10 seconds in Formula 1 could, he said, be one position, whereas 10 seconds in Formula E takes you from first to last. So, so he said he also agrees with you that it should be slightly different. Nikki in chat, I'm going to just pose this because the conversation about Norman, he says, why is Norman to blame for that? And I get it as well. Like, the only thing I would say that, and I'm a big Norman fan. Like, if you know me, I am a bit of a Norman fan. I just generally like the guy. That's mainly why. My appreciation of the drivers is how much I get on with them, and I get on with Norman quite well. The only thing that for me is, could he have been a bit more aware of the situation of him potentially cutting across and cutting into his space, because then he does become the driver behind who then slams into the back of Norman, right? And I get that his space has been cut off and Da Costa has moved very late under braking, but could he have read the situation slightly better? Could there have been a bit more awareness? That's the only thing I'm going to say. But honestly, I think the blame for me relies probably 90-10 with Da Costa. Because, it was a late move. And I can see why he got the 5-second penalty. But that 10%, I can see how, it might not have gone the other way. But moving on from that, Ricardo, what did you make of Sanya just in general? What else would you like to talk about?
To be honest, would you believe that this was the race that or the weekend that I fully slept on, or I switched off Formula E and got a good night of sleep?
I love that.
Yeah.
Am I going to do an all-nighter for Formula E? No, I'm going to sleep. I love my sleep.
Yeah, I don't think I said it on the show, but the one time I wanted to go through the whole night was in Seoul 2022.
For the championship.
And for the championship. And what happened is on the first day, so on Saturday, I actually was awake for qualifying, but then I slept on the race.
Oh.
Then the next day I did the exact opposite. It wasn't worth it. Because then I only got 4 hours of sleep, and I kept on waking up while the race was turned on. So it wasn't worth it.
I used to do all-nighters. Sanya was the first closest to an all-nighter I've done, because I went to bed at like 2:30. Well, not long, about 2:45 after FP2, after we'd done comms, me and Pico, which was great fun. But then I wasn't on commentary for qualifying, and I was debating getting up to do the advertising of the show and so forth, and I just thought, and I missed it. I must admit, I slept through. I did set my alarm, but my alarm went off at 5 o'clock and not like 4 o'clock. I think I set myself to miss the group stays and then come on for the duels, and I just got it wrong, and I woke up at 5 and I was like, oh well, set it for 7:20, and so I missed qualifying, and then I just caught up whilst I was sitting on the race show whilst all the pre-stuff was going on. But that's probably because I have learned that it's hard when you're an English-based audience is mostly asleep and will just wake up for the race. You realise that your content that does normally quite well during a normal European or American race day just doesn't do anything come the China race weekends because no one's awake.
I remember texting you and I was like, "You doing it, Jack?" And you're like, "Yeah, I'm going to do an all-nighter." I was like, "Good luck. At least you got the World Cup."
Yeah. Well, to be fair, the Scotland Morocco game helped massively. That did help massively because that got me to 1 o'clock, and I was like, "It's only half hour until I'm live." So that did help massively. So yeah, it doesn't help with that. But yeah, where do you think the championship's going to go? Because I said, right, and I fully get why Nick disagreed with me, but I've kind of said it in a tongue-in-cheek way, but I still kind of believe what I say in terms of I still think Mitch Evans needs a little bit of luck. I just think if normality, and there is no such thing as normality in Formula E, if there is normality, I do think the Mahindra should be up there, and Verline should be up there, and that will make it more tricky for the likes of Mitch Evans. So for me, Mitch Evans should probably be finishing around 3rd to 4th to 5th, right? Whereas the Mahindra should be 1st, 2nd, with Verline up there as 1st, 2nd, in an ideal world. But as a DaCosta Jaguar fan, right, sort of, right? Do you think, you know, do you think they have the pace to win races? Where do you think this championship could be going? And DaCosta, you know, he's not out of it. You know, what did we say? 92 points. You know, do you think DaCosta could mount a title challenge?
I mean, it's unlikely, to be honest, and Shanghai will determine if DaCosta will play the second fiddle to Mitch in the last 4 races. But historically, Jaguar as a whole haven't been good in Tokyo, so that could be a big down for Jaguar unless they turn things upside down. And of course, Tokyo is going to be a night race, so it could be a lot different from the other 3 races that we had. But either way, Tokyo is not a good track for Jaguar as a whole. Pascal did well in Tokyo. Of course, we got Shanghai, but a bit. We get on Shanghai in a bit. But yeah, Pascal did well in Tokyo last year. But then London, and this is where I get with Shanghai and the whole thing. Do you know what team did kind of the best, looking at historically wise, in Shanghai, Tokyo, and London? It was Mahindra. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So crucially, Mahindra are very good in London, especially De Vries.
Yeah.
But with the form that Mortaro has this year, I think London could be a very happy hunting ground for Mortaro. I don't want to bite my tongue by saying this because I am an Edo fan. Yeah, aside from DaCosta, I go with Edo all the way. But yeah, if but the thing is, Mahindra have been good in Gen 3 and Gen 3 Evo, in Shanghai, in Tokyo, and in London. So yeah, it could be very favorable for Mahindra and Mortara, and very well for the team's championship for Mahindra as well, because Nick has been racking up the points lately, and Mortara, if he finds his form again, or if he gets his good luck or lady luck besides him, he could be very well on the front foot for these last 6 races.
So,
but
I'll tell you who would agree with you there. Mazraw, the first caller, who said Mortara was going to be the closest title contender, and on paper at this precise moment, or even with the eyes or the sniff test, you'd think, I'm not quite sure on that, but maybe your prophecies might come true, and maybe. But I would honestly, I'd be more than happy for Mortara. I'd love to see Mahindra take this and throw their hat into the ring. I would love it.
Well, we want a title fight come London. I know we're a bit biased because we're going to be there, but like that's what you want, isn't it? This season has not let us sit down and enjoy it. It's like, it's going to be chaos every race. I think we've had pretty much bangers all the way through, so I'd like this to just keep going and going and going, and I think it will.
No, I hope so too. I really do. Right, Ricardo, we're going to let you go because we've got 2 more callers, so if we give them 10 minutes each, then we're good for time.
Once.
Yeah, for once. For once. Any final words? Because I know you're a member, which we love, and you're always on the show. So any final words that you want just to say before potentially speaking to you again on Wednesday about the new format and the new calendar?
Enjoy these last 6 races because I think it's going to be pandemonium. It could be, but yeah, have a good night, everyone.
And you, Ricardo.
Take care.
Thank you so much for coming on. And as we say that, another member just popped in the chat. It's Saz! Sorry I haven't been able to join for a while. You're all shiny. We all love you. We love you. We love you, Saz, and it's so important to stay shiny. Ricardo, we'll see you later.
We'll see you. Take care.
We're going to get Dreamcat in because Dreamcat is a new caller. and then we'll end the show with our resident Jake Dennis fan. Dreamcat, what is your name? Because I don't really want to call you Dreamcat04. Please don't tell me you're born in 2004, because you're going to make me sound really old. Maybe both of us really old. You have to unmute though. Hopefully you are in chat, and hopefully you can hear us. If not, then we'll go to Chris and we'll try and get you at the end. But you have to obviously hit that unmute button. We'll give you a couple of seconds to try and do that. If not, we'll go to Chris. And in the meantime, what can we talk about?
I'm here.
Hello.
Close my door. Hi.
Hello. How are we?
Yeah, doing fine.
What's your name?
It's Thierry.
Thierry.
It's a French name.
French. It's a French name. Bonjour. Je m'appelle Jacques. I don't know if you can speak French. I'm just. Are you from France?
No, I'm from Switzerland, but
Switzerland?
we get taught French quite early on.
Did you go to the Bern and Zurich Eprix, or were you just? I don't know how old you are, but I'm just curious.
I was indeed born in 2004. That's where the 04 comes from in my name.
Jesus Christ.
No, yeah.
we're getting old. We're getting old.
Yeah, I'm getting old. Yeah. No, I think I saw the Zurich or Bern Eprix, one of them, on TV, but at the time I didn't know what Formula E was, or that it was like this different thing. It was just like, oh yeah, nice. Yeah, I think I can remember the car swapping.
Yep.
Sort of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really.
But yeah, I'm sure your first of glimpses into Formula E, which is really exciting. And we like that. So, what did you make of Sanya then? Talk to us. What did you want to talk to us about? What did you decide that you wanted to talk to us about today?
I didn't really have anything in mind. I kind of reacted just because I usually react, and then thought,
didn't realize that you were signing up for the show. But we wanted you. It's fine. We can come in. We could. Right. You know what? We'll ease you in gently, right? Because it's your first show, and we want you to come back, right? We want you to come back. So, how hot is it in Switzerland right now?
That's pretty hot.
It's pretty hot. How are you dealing with it? Because I'm sweating here. Like, I can see my face right on the camera. And my face is shiny, right? I probably need to jump in the shower after this, right? How are you dealing with the heat?
I mean, right now it's like 35 outside by day.
God, it's only 28 here, and we're dying. We're dying.
Yeah. It's also like kind of humid, especially in the evening.
Yep.
But it's pretty alright over in like over noon.
Yeah. So
it's just hot.
You're doing the gas. It is incredibly hot. So Formula E, right? Let's go easy, right? So you've got Kyle. Kyle's a Da Costa fan. I'm a neutral, right? I got my favourites because I get to talk to them when I'm in that lucky position. Who is your favourite driver?
Right now I'm kind of a Dan Ticktum fan.
Okay, up the Dan Ticktum, because I get on with Dan, right? Me and him, well, I say we're good buddies, but we're not good. We're good acquaintances, good professional acquaintances, right? And I'm able to get a lot of it. And I said to Carl earlier that I think he's had a good season. And Carl looked at me like, are you sure about that? And I was like, yeah. I was like, hear me out on this, right? Because I think, all right, the results haven't been good, right? But I kind of look at it as on a team principle. And, you know, his contract's up in the air, right? At this precise moment, and we're not quite sure if he's going to be on the grid in Gen 4. Fingers crossed he is, because I just think it's important, I think, for Formula E, especially how much they've done coverage-wise of him round, you know, the driver series and so forth. I think he has had a good season because the pace in qualifying, what he does, has been really, really strong. So,
Yeah,
would you
that's
would you
definitely a
agree?
strong
Would
suit.
you agree with that, or would you disagree with that and say that he hasn't had that good of a season because the race results, on the other hand, haven't been fabulous?
It's a tough one. I mean, yeah, just purely based on the results, obviously, he hasn't really had a good season. But I mean, most of the reasons why he didn't perform well was out of his control, really. So
Yeah.
I think had these things not happened, he might have finished a lot higher.
Yeah.
And
What was
he's
your
had a lot of
what was
dual
your view?
appearances too.
Yeah. What was your view on the Monaco penalty? The 33-second time penalty.
Oh yeah. Personally, I think it was excessive.
Yeah.
I think yeah, I've heard a lot of opinions, but I think maybe 5 seconds would have been enough because, like, the gap was sort of always gonna close on the Costa, and he technically would have had a bit of room, but maybe just not enough time to react.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also a bit indecisive of what to think exactly.
Yeah, Kyle, what do you think in terms of Tictum then? Because you kind of looked at me. Would you say he's had a good season? If you were a team principal, right? Let's say, right, Dan Tictum is going to come. You're Opel. Let's just say Opel, and you haven't signed any drivers. There's no Mitch Evans. There's no Theo Porcher. They've signed up. They're elsewhere. Dan Tictum comes on your table. Are you taking it, or are you? If it's transfer Tinder, they do this on TalkSport. You swiping right, you swiping left.
Given it's season 13 and it's Gen 4, I think I would take Tictum because you need experience coming into the sport. I think think about those rookies that you mentioned. So, and I do think he's a decent driver. So I just think, for me personally, I think sometimes his anger sort of markets him as someone who can't control himself. But I think if you ignore that, and they didn't play the radios, I think he is a decent driver. I think he sells on the drama, and I think that's what I think of, because that's what Formula E like as well. They like him. He's fiery, he's classic, isn't he? He's very 80s Formula 1 with his hair and his fashion, and he loves a good petrol engine, and this is an electric sport. So I think sometimes I forget that he is a good driver because of the personality and fieriness he brings to the sport. So, but I would sign him. If I was Opel, I would sign him. If the seat's up, obviously, I think it's hard because Pepe's now in the leading position, but he's not the number one driver.
Yeah.
I think Pepe's just got lucky. So, but that's where I stand.
I've got the book out. I'm trying to find my pen. There's my pen. Right, Kyle. Which are you the pink team or the blue team?
So in my head, Porsche. I think Porsche is the blue one.
Or what's Kyle racing? What's Kyle racing?
I'm gonna take the.
So I need to write.
All
right, you're pink. So I'm writing down that you're taking Dan Tictum as one of your drivers, and I'm gonna put this down as Kyle Racing. Kyle Racing. He's taken Dan Tictum. So he's swiped right. He is taking Dan Tictum. Very, very important.
Jack, does that mean, I know you're a neutral? I'm a neutral too. I level 20 drivers, but obviously I do have preferences of who I cheer for. Just to get that out there before I get a bias sticker, because I've been called that out before. But is he not getting a seat from you then, Jack? I mean, how do you feel about it?
He gets a seat from me. Yes, 100%. If he
but
was,
do you think he'll stay at? Do you think he'll stay at Cooper Kiro? I
think Cooper are mad consider getting rid of him. I think
Yeah.
only because I'm not saying there's better drivers out there. There's probably drivers out there on his level, but as you said, he's got the experience in Formula E, and you know that is valuable. We are going into a new era, right? And that could shake a few feathers up, and you could
it resets the playing field,
resets
doesn't it?
the
In
playing
terms
field.
of knowing that.
They'll have a
knowing
new
everything
power.
about
They're going to be a customer team. Are they going to be a customer Porsche powertrain? If they're a customer Porsche powertrain, you know, Dan Tichter wants to be in that seat more than anything in this world, right? Because he'll know he'll have a chance to fight for the championship. If
And
not,
I think you guys covered it on the. I think you did it in Monaco, and you asked Dan about pack racing, and he's in Pico's corner.
yeah,
He hates it.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
I think
and
if Gen 4 isn't.
yeah, and Sanya, right, to me wasn't a pack race. Like to me, that was just a generic Formula E race, and I really enjoyed it. But Thierry, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on. I hope you didn't find it too nerve-wracking, and I hope we'll have you back on for future shows. You did really well for your first time, and we'd love to have you back.
Thanks.
But thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Right, we'll see you later.
Yeah.
Just as a co-host, I'm going to mention that Pico has put in the chat that his team name would be Pico Motorsport, or PMS for short.
Yeah, we know. Terrible from you, Mr. Pickering. But we're going to end the show with our resident Jake Dennis fan, Mr. Andretti. Mate, you must have had a crazy weekend. Like, what a weekend you've had.
Oh, tell me about it. As I say, it was, well, I'll be honest, it was my birthday on the Friday, so I may have missed quali because I was bit out of it. Watched the race a bit out of it.
Well, what a birthday present from Jake Dennis to you, eh? What a birthday present.
Tell me about it. I say, when I woke up and saw the quali results, I was not expecting that.
Yeah,
especially from the Andretti team.
Yeah, because they looked quick, right? So, as I said, the me and Pico FP2 commentary, which you can all go back and listen to. Great stuff from me and Pico at 2 o'clock in 1:30 in the morning. But I was saying to Pico, like, Andretti's look good here. Like, they look good. And you know, when I woke up and saw that they were 1 and 2, I was a bit shocked with the 1 and 2, but I wasn't surprised that Jake Dennis had taken pole. But then they also had the race pace to keep it, and you know, using that final attack mode, as I said, attack mode itself is so powerful that, you know, you can just do wonders if you time it right. It can transform your race.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I think everybody's already said this, but when that red flag came out, I thought, okay, well, another Jake win is out of it. But
yep.
Actually, he turned it around. So I thought, he took 4 and 4, didn't Jake? And I think Pascal took 2 and 6.
Yep.
So I thought that was Pascal's race to lose.
Yeah, as I said, it just didn't happen. He got a bit unlucky with the not, but I think that was a penalty. It was the lightest of touches, but you know, I agree with what the stewards kind of said. We'll look at that more when we eventually do stewards watch, hopefully during this week, to say that, you know, he wasn't kind of alongside. I think the 5 seconds was merited for Pascal, but it just shows you how quickly the race can change, right, from a blink of an eye. And I'm with you. And I don't know if you were with me as well, Carl, in terms of that moment when Roland overtook after the red flag, and it was one attack mode, and Roland had track position. I thought it was Roland's race to lose.
Yeah, I think he turned up, didn't he, Oliver Rowland? And I think he was on for some good points. And I think, it was just unfortunate, but it's kept our championship a little bit alive. So I'll take a DNF, but I do think he was looking strong, wasn't he, Oliver Rowland? I think we call him the Beast from Barnsley because he is an animal when it comes to Formula E. He's just had an unfortunate start to the season, I believe.
Yeah. How impressed, Chris, have you been with Felipe Dragovic as an Andretti fan? Because I have been impressed with him in terms of his pace in qualifying, but I know the race results weren't coming, but eventually, right, these race results now are coming. How impressed have you been with Dragovic?
Well, as I said it in last year, but obviously you were away. I had a chat with some of the engineers back in Berlin over a few pints, as usual.
As you do.
Yes, you do. And even they were saying, obviously, especially after Madrid, it was. I think I actually caught them on the Friday night before the race. they were absolutely thrilled with Felipe's progress, and obviously this is before he scored any points.
Yep.
Like there was no indication. I know there were hints in the media that obviously his seat was up for grabs, but at the team there was no indication of that.
Yep.
And that is fair actually, because the way he was performing, yes, he got incredibly unlucky. He probably should have got some points in Miami. But when he came in, I was worried that he was going to almost slightly topple Jake.
Yep.
And yeah, that worry's starting to come back a little bit because obviously the Monaco weekend was the Monaco weekend.
Yep.
Jake got incredibly unlucky and Felipe got a podium. And again, a 1-2 for a team. I'm just going to pretend that late penalty didn't happen.
Yep.
A 1-2 for the team.
I've been doing the same.
Because, yeah, I was going to say, you're going to have bloody 3 hours. You're going to have a 3-hour Steward watch this week, aren't you? With all the penalties that we had after the race.
We thought Monaco was longer, but that
well,
ended up being 31 minutes.
Jack, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, we'll try. I don't know if we can, but I've been sent some more footage, but I don't know if it'll have any more sort of the penalty for Dragovic.
One thing I want to mention while we're talking about Andretti is, I think they have. They were in a fight with Envision about 2 weekends ago, and they are now 4th position, catching Mahindra. And we've talked a lot about Mahindra on this show today, and I think it is looking quite positive. But I do think Andretti could start clawing the points back. They've got 2 fast drivers, as I think Mahindra have 2 fast drivers, but only one of them gets a fast weekend.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, well, to be fair, Andretti had that until Monaco. Just happened to be the same driver the entire time.
No,
and
indeed.
Actually, just while I'm here, Andretti, was it Andretti who scored? Yeah, I think Andretti have scored the last 5 rounds like decent points, like better than Jaguar. So I think they are showing form, I believe. Let me just double check what I'm saying here. So it's just doing the full grid.
Well,
they scored 10, 12, 18, 38. So actually, they didn't score better than Jaguar, but for someone who's not leading the championship, I would take that consistency.
Yeah, to say they're not. Say they're far from the team that expect to be fighting for championships. They're one of the smaller teams on the grid. So to be where they are, I still think the car might not be there. I know we talk about Jake's championship.
That's what I was going to end on. Do you think he can mount a championship challenge?
It's looking at the tracks we have left. That's what we have to do. Shanghai, again, I think that's going to be one that's going to be a bit more on the Jag side. But I've learned with Formula E, the car, you can have a slight advantage, but there's nothing more than a very slight advantage in this sport. So, I think we'll know after Shanghai, because I know Tokyo's hard to overtake, and London is London. London, you just survive rather than race.
So you the best track.
Yeah, it is, literally. But I think... I think we'd know after Shanghai. If Jake can get some decent points from Shanghai and title rivals don't, I think they could be in for a shock. But I also think with 6 rounds to go, what's the behind at the moment? 128 to 94, isn't it?
Yeah, I've kind of lost myself in that, because I realised, because you guys didn't hear me because I was having a minor coughing fit, but then I muted myself for you guys, but I didn't mute myself for the stream like an actual donut, but never mind.
It's 34 points he's off the lead at the moment.
I was thinking it's 34, which it's not impossible. But
I think he's there. The series is so competitive and it's so topsy-turvy, and and people say you can't predict it. I'm like, oh no, maybe you can predict it, but I know you can't. But it shows from your prediction shows, Carl, that no one can predict it.
No,
but
you can't. I was going to say,
maybe you can kind of predict it, but you can't really. But It's one of them. I think I wouldn't rule him out of it at this point, Chris. But we're going to stop it there because our resident Mahindra fan has shown up. So we're going to have like 5 minutes added on extra time. Because we're going to try and squeeze Johnny in.
That's because of all the hydration breaks. Oh, I've run out.
Yeah, so have I. I've run out of water. That's why I'm blaming it on my cough. Because I've been. What was it? I was going to say. I had a little bit of a sore throat over the weekend, and I was really struggling during the FP2, and I was like, but I got through it, and I kind of survived. But I've done quite well for this whole show. I haven't coughed once, and then it just as soon as literally it's like 10 o'clock now. It's like it's like leave me alone, leave me alone, leave me alone. But I couldn't bloody I couldn't do I couldn't mute 2 mics basically. My brain could only manage 1. But Chris, we're going to leave it there so we can squeeze Johnny in. But thank you so much for coming on, and hopefully maybe we'll speak to you on Wednesday when we find out where we're racing and what the rules are.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I want to plan my holidays for next year.
Yeah, exactly. So do I.
Want to get the calendar out.
So do I. So we can all start planning. Chris, it's been an absolute joy. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, speak to you later, gents.
See you later.
See you later.
Right, we're gonna get
we've had added laps.
Added
here,
laps,
so
yeah. One or two added laps for my coffin fit. Johnny. Hello. Can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Excellent. We can hear you loud and clear, sir. What would you like to talk about? Assuming it's Mahindra.
Yeah. Weird day. Weird day for. I think like the stewards had. I think one of the most difficult races of the season.
Yeah.
Because the steward decisions were like weird. The penalties were weird, and we had a lot of penalties which were dished out like at the end of the race, which made the podium also change. We never knew who was on the podium.
The freeze one was mad, wasn't it? The 5 seconds added, then the 5 seconds taken away. It was like, like just craziness. Like it was, you couldn't keep up with it. Which I just, the fact that we haven't even mentioned that over the show just shows you, like, 2 hours is enough. Trust me and Carl, right? 2 hours is enough, right? But it feels like sometimes you can't get everything in 2 hours. You need a whole day, a whole radio station.
I think it depends on how much shenanigans happen over the weekend, isn't it? Really, like
there's always
we've covered the main stuff, but then there is that sort of if, buts, and maybes. And I think the FIA this weekend were probably briefed, right, guys? This is the Gen 3 car. This is the Gen 2 track. Good luck.
Yeah. Well done.
So like I think Eduardo had a unlucky day.
Yeah.
Mortara, because I think the team screwed up his strategy. I think so he should have taken the pit push a little bit earlier, so he would not be in that middle, and get that damage and all.
Yeah.
And his race was ruined. I think so he would have been like fighting for the podium if not that was the case, like how Nick Debris was. And like I was surprised for Nick to like after having all the damage for his wing and everything and getting it repaired and afterwards to come on to the podium is like really surprising.
Yeah, he did
after all the penalties
really well. He did
one of my
really
favourite things of the Eprix was when Mortara's front wing completely got snapped, and every time he came past, you could hear him. And after he went past the camera, you could still hear him because it was a carbon fibre scraping.
It was really really weird, and the angle of the wing was also really weird. I was like waiting for it to snap at any time, it was weirdly positioned, that wing.
I want to talk to you about Mahindra though. Let's just to sort of wrap up the conversation, but it's been a great time to be a Mahindra fan, I think, but also the most frustrating time to be a Mahindra fan, because it must be so horrible knowing that they are so quick. I was watching FP2. You might have been watching FP2 too, and looking at the timesheets, and FP1 going, okay, we're back. Right, this is going to be a good weekend for us. And then you watch qualifying, and you go, what? And then the race happens, and you're like, again? Seriously? How can we not turn this pace into a win? Right? And just how frustrating has that been as a Mahindra fan?
Yeah, it's like I feel like we are the Ferraris of Formula E. I think because Ferrari also has the same thing, happening. One time Charles has a good weekend. One time Lewis wins the race, out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I think we are the Ferrari of like Formula E. I feel sometimes, and along with the
And
team also having
Mahindra,
like weird strategies. Yeah.
Mahindra have the heritage to go back that up, don't they? Really, because they've been here since day dot. So on that Ferrari term, I'd agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they are red in color as well, so everything matches.
Yes, it is true. The Ferrari of Formula E. But yeah, I suppose it is so frustrating because the hype is there, the excitement is there for Mahindra, and then the disappointment of the race. It must, as I said, it must be incredibly frustrating. Do you think going into the final 6 races? Because I think Shanghai is a big opportunity for them, and people have come on and said that actually form dictates that Mahindra are quite strong at Shanghai, are quite strong at Tokyo, and quite strong at London. You have to remember they got a win there with Alex Lin, in Gen 2. So it is a strong track for Mahindra statistically on previous runnings. Does that give you any hope that Mortara and the team can really stake a claim for the Drivers' Championship and push themselves up in the teams?
Yeah, I think Mahindra is one of the top teams right now in terms of form. No? But I think they have been a little bit unlucky all the time in all the races. That's the most frustrating thing being a Mahindra fan, that I know that they have the potential. I know the car is very good. I know the drivers are good, but the luck doesn't come in one this.
Yeah.
And that's the frustration which we are facing right now as Mahindra fans. And even this race, like Mortara was predicted to win by the commentators. If you had checked the FP2 or FP3, I think it's FP2, right?
Yeah,
FP2,
FP2.
they were saying like, Mahindra is good at 350, and they're going to take pole. Eduardo is going to take pole and win the race. But then when qualifying came, it didn't happen. So that's the frustrating thing about Mahindra.
Yeah,
we get our hopes high during the practice sessions, and then after the qualifying, then this goes down, and then sometimes in the race we are like holding our nerves and sitting and watching the race. Are we going to win or no? Are we going to win or no? That kind of feeling all the time. Yeah, makes us anxious.
I'm happy that at least you got that chance in Monaco to experience the win, and fingers crossed for you, Johnny. That there are a few more wins in these final 6 races, because we don't know what's going to happen with Mahindra come Gen 4, but let's enjoy these 6 races while we know Mahindra have a strong package.
And also I think Mahindra has been good in Shanghai.
Yep.
Has been good in London, because they have I think so earlier even before Alex Lin, the other drivers, I think so, Sims, and they were doing well as well in London.
Yeah.
I think Pascal Wehrlein also got a podium or something. I don't remember. Like way back when he was driving for Mahindra in London. So these 2 tracks are very strong for Mahindra. And with the current form, I have no doubt that they are going to be like in front of the grid during these races. The only thing is luck has to favor them. The drivers should not make silly mistakes and get their cars damaged. The main problem is like they are getting their cars damaged during the races and then they fall back.
Yeah.
If you see like both the races, last race also in Monaco, Eduardo got he finished P2, but he got a penalty just because of a silly incident in the first lap with Da Costa,
Yeah.
And then the first race in Monaco, he had the worst luck of any of the drivers. Like he was recovering like in the points, and then somebody hit him in behind and he got a puncture, and then he was like way back in the race.
Indeed.
He was lapped by De Vries for the win. So
let's hope, Johnny, that luck changes. Thank you so much for coming on, though. And we squeezed you in because we love you. We love our Mahindra fans, and we love and the fact that also you come from a long way in different time zones and so forth to be here. It means a lot to us. So
I'm in UK only.
Oh, you're in the UK. I can't remember. I need to write down where all my Mahindra fans are, because everyone's everywhere. You're in the UK, right? Good. No time zone difference. How are you? How are you surviving the heat? You surviving the heat?
Terrible, man. It's terrible.
Well, we're surviving it. We're surviving it, Johnny. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll speak to you soon.
All right, guys. Thank you for having me.
No worries.
Take care, Kyle. Bye, guys.
See you later.
Bye. Yeah.
There we go, Kyle. There we go, Kyle. We did it. Only 10 minutes over time. It's not too bad for this show. Not too bad for this show.
I got one more point actually because I put a plus, but because we moved on to Sanya too quickly. The one thing I did like about the Sanya track was the dummy grid though, because there are fans in that central part.
Yeah.
And I said in my video, and I got it wrong, the start line was going to be in the close quarter sector, which of course it really can't be because it's not big enough. But the fact they had a dummy grid, I think, is really thoughtful for the fans. I don't think they had that in Gen 2 because I've only seen the highlights.
We did have some dummy grids.
Really cool.
There was some places where they would have to drive. So, like Paris, we had a dummy grid where it was on the other side. Rome had one where you had to drive halfway around. So there was a few dummy grids over. But again, for me, that was all part of my nostalgia in terms of, I haven't seen this in a while. You know, them driving so slowly to get to the grid because they don't want to waste a percentage of energy.
The only way I think they'd be able to do it is a rolling start, but I think that'd be pretty boring.
Yeah, no, we don't want rolling starts.
No.
But that's it for us for tonight. We will be back. Well, I will be back. Whether it's Kyle, whether it's someone else, we still don't know. But we will be back on Wednesday, tomorrow morning, right? At some point in the morning. We are expecting the calendar to drop. We are expecting the new rules to drop. So it gives us a night to get our heads together, to work out what it is, what we like, what we don't like, and then we're going to come Wednesday evening, 8 p.m. We'll be here to talk about what we like, what we don't like, what we're excited for, and what we think the Gen 4 era is going to look like. So we will see you on Wednesday. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.